Oh, this is nice.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the room. What we'll do is, it's a little bit after the appointed moment. And you're the first one to arrive. So if you've got a minute, let's wait 2 or 3 more minutes and see if anybody arrives. If not, I'll just have a chat with you and answer any questions you may have. And I am going to record the session and I'll upload it into the classroom.
Okay. Okay, so yes, we can wait a few minutes to start. Let me mute my television.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long.
Tonight, America.
Okay, so my television is muted.
Good. Okay. Like I said, we'll just give it a couple of minutes, and then if no one else shows up, then you'll get a private audience.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a couple of questions, so good.
Okay. All right, good. We'll just give it a minute then.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody joining the meeting. Go. Oh. Oh, then. Awesome. Stop fussing. Come on, you want to get on my lap? You want to join me? Come on. Come on, Kitty Cat.
Okay, let's go. We'll go ahead and get started. I don't want to tie up your time either. So welcome to the live session for 113 International Business. And is this Wanda? Is that who I'm speaking with?
Yes, Wanda Dorsey, correct?
Okay, well, welcome. What I was going to do is just spend a few minutes answering any questions people had. If we need to, we can navigate the system if you have any issues there. But primarily, it was just to make people feel warm and fuzzy. And once I've answered your questions, then I'll make some just general observations that may help students understand the assignment structure that we have in this course. So rather than waste a lot of your time, why don't we start by let me address the questions you may have.
Well, I'm thinking if I pay attention, you might answer my question. But
Okay.
My concern is I keep losing my textbook.
Your textbook. Okay.
Yes, and I try to go in. So I'm gonna just let you go ahead and give me the overview. And
Sure.
Maybe you'll answer my question.
Right now,
Okay.
the textbook I may not be able to help you with because I'm old-fashioned. I like the book, so I actually own a copy of the textbook. I went and bought one from Amazon because I just didn't want to deal with it. But it is available through the My Management Lab is where the book should show up. The structure of the course is pretty straightforward, although is this your first class with the school, or are you been with the school a while?
No, this isn't my first class.
Okay. So you're familiar with the way that classes in general are structured, and it's similar to the old system, but it has changed a lot. And obviously, there's announcements here. You're seeing a screen that shows my desktop, which these are all the messages that I've written for the class that you're going to start seeing throughout the course. In other words, they're already in there. You don't see these right now. You should be seeing this one right here. What I've tried to do is in the beginning of the course, the first basically 3 weeks of the course, I've actually created some live mini lectures to try and help students get started in the material. As we get further into it, I don't have those in there because they're less important because you've already gotten used to the material. The key thing is just to make sure you keep up to date reading the announcements because they're going to pop in every week, giving you highlights of what's coming in the course. So, but that's pretty much the same as we had in all the other elements. The learning module should be where you're going to get into your My Lab, and these links right here should be the ones that take you to the reading material and the textbook. And if your textbook is disappearing from here, then you probably would want to talk to the my management lab help desk
Okay.
if it's disappearing from their site, because they're supposed to give that to you automatically. So you should be able to go into the modules and find the reading for in the module for that week, as including the video assignment.
Right.
You're saying that when you go into this my management module, you're actually seeing the reading disappear from here when you open it?
Well, the screen that you have before me now is exactly what I see. And when I, click to find my book, I'm not able to find a book. I can find the video.
Right.
And I did speak to the help desk, and they did help me to access the Tsunami video for last week.
Right.
So they were able to help me with that. So I'm going to have to call them back, because now I've accessed the book previously, but now I can't find it again. And it's like, I, keep trying, and I think I'm wasting precious time. I need to just go ahead and contact the help desk again.
Yeah, and this, I'm using Safari, but here, for example, here's chapter 1 of the textbook,
Right.
and you would click over
and
here,
I've been there.
and and the way I navigated to that was I went through this link that says e-text.
Okay.
And so when you
Uh-huh.
you go, let me go back, see if it'll let me go back to one more. So when you're over here under my management lab, if you notice right here, it says e-text.
Okay.
You click on that link, and it should come back with your textbook. And then depending on what chapter you're trying to reach will be determined in that regard. So that's how I believe is the proper way to get into your electronic textbook. As you can see, there it is in front of you. So if you're losing that link, then that would not be the university help desk. It would be the Pearson help desk.
Pearson.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they control everything in my management lab.
Got it. I understand.
Okay.
Now let me ask you this, because I did also look into purchasing the book from Amazon.
Yes.
The problem that I had was that I think it was the same edition, but one of the numbers did not match.
Okay.
Because I think it was like different sets of numbers. So then I was reluctant to order it.
If it's not an exact number match, then it's not the same book. And what it could be, there's an international version as well as a U.S. version. And my guess is there's also an instructor's version. And so you may have been looking at one of those. So if the ISBN number is not an exact match, then I would not purchase it.
Right, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and my copy is the 8th edition, and that's the one that the course is based on. So you can also go into a Barnes and Noble, but you'll pay probably a little bit more for it. And if you give them the number from your syllabus, they'll order it for you.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
And again, that's voluntary. The university encourages students to use the electronic because you've paid for that in your course already. So this becomes additional expense to you. Personally, I'm just old-fashioned. I like to read a book.
Right. That's my husband. He's in school too. He likes books.
And so that's the reason why I tend to do that. So hopefully that will help you as far as the textbook. Obviously the classroom, again, is set up reasonably similar to the old system. The major differences you'll have is when you go into discussion questions and so forth, you don't see the string of questions that you saw in the old system. You see these base points. So for example, in week 1, there's your introductory instructions and your template. And then over here to the right, whenever you see a number over here that's in blue, that's an indication that somebody has added a new post.
Okay.
When you see it looking like you see here, 12 and 30, what that's saying is that there's 12 people that have answered this thread, and there's 30 people that have posted additional messages. And so once you've posted your answer, you then have access to the entire thread. You don't have it until you actually post your answer the first time. Once you do,
Okay, got it.
then you'll see these type of threads. That this is this week's thread with your fellow students'
Mm-hmm.
responses, and then you have, if you want to see what everybody posted to them, you just click on theirs right here, for example, and it'll open it up and show you all the responses to their post. Now, in this case, there's only one, but if you go down to some of the right here, let's see, right here, you've got one that's been responded to 3 times. So
Okay.
if I go in and I click on that link, you then will see their post right here. They've done it as an attachment. You'll see my response to them, and then you'll see all the other responses that have been made as well. So it gives you a chance to read the entire thread. But again, that's just one of the ways to navigate to the thread once you've already read it the first time.
Okay.
Let's see what else. The homework let's see, the homework assignments. Let me just get back to the right spot. There we go. There we go. The homework assignments, I'm assuming you've had no problem with because you've done your assignments for last week. But that's basically right now your post in the classroom, and then you've got in the My Lab in week 1 and 2, you have the quiz, the video quiz. You take that. You should take that through the My Lab as well. And you have one. You did one last week, and there's another one this week. Then you don't. Then you will have a third one in week 5. And the only thing I tell students about the quizzes is that if you don't get a perfect score, you're allowed to take the quiz 3 times. So let's say you got one answer wrong and you got an 80 percentile. You can actually go back into the same way you did the first time, take it again, and if your grade improves, it automatically raises your grade. And
Excellent.
And you're allowed to do that 3 times any time during the course. If you do it late, for example, let's say you didn't do week 2 until week 3 because you got tied up and you just couldn't do it, you would lose points for tardiness, and that's 10%. But you could earn all the other points. So instead of getting 100, you might get 90. So
excellent.
If for some reason a student is going to have a problem completing the quiz on time, what I encourage them to do, and it beats the system, but you know, and you'll figure this out eventually yourselves. But let's say, for example, it's Saturday. You know, there's a quiz. You really don't want to lose the 10% penalty for doing it next week. So what you can do is you can go in, answer the first question, exit. It'll grade you, giving you a failing grade because you only answered 1 out of the required questions, but you're on time. You then can go back in next week, finish the quiz. You'll earn and get 100% of the points, and they won't take off points for penalty for being tardy.
Wow. Okay.
So you can avoid the tardiness points by just starting the quiz, answering at least a couple of questions, get out of it, take the low grade on the first attempt, and then just make sure you go back and retake it before the end of the course.
Got it.
So that's a way to get around that penalty point. Okay.
Excellent.
The other thing, obviously, is discussions. Make sure that you do at least 2 peer responses. So you do your primary answer, and then you have to do 2 peer responses. On the peer responses, keep in mind that responding to a student that asks you a question in your thread does not count as a peer response. So the only time you get credit for a peer response is when you ask them a question or comment on a fellow student's discussion in their thread. Okay?
Okay.
So just make sure of that. Okay, then other than that, let me just talk a few minutes about the whole concept of what's going on with these assignments and the mindset that you should be operating under. What we're simulating in this course is we're simulating that you're a middle management person at a company that wants to enter an international market. And they're going to enter the market in the country that you've chosen for yourself. Like, what country are you doing?
Jamaica.
Okay, so you've chosen Jamaica. So the assumption here is you're a middle manager and your CEO has told you, we're going to try and enter the market in Jamaica. We don't know anything about it. Go forth and find out for us what we need to know to go into business in Jamaica. Okay, that's your overall overreaching assignment. Then what we're doing each week is through the controlled discussion questions I'm giving you, we're focusing you on different aspects of international business, culture, finance, trade, uh, the legal system. And each week you're focusing on a specific subset of the topics that leadership would want to know about. And so when you're doing this weekly assignment where you're posting to me the uh, the the template with the statistical data and the observations, that's a fact gathering instrument that you're using as though you were a manager trying to look into that topic to get ready for your presentation. And so,
Okay.
and then when I give you feedback, the feedback's intended to help you to tweak it or to improve it. Then
Okay.
what's going to happen is that in week 3 and week 6, and week 3 and week 6, you're going to do what's called a checkpoint assignment. So, for example, next week, you'll start out the week doing your normal weekly assignment, which will be similar to the one you've done the last 2 weeks. And you'll talk about that topic. And then I'll give you feedback as quickly as you put it in. You're then going to take the template that's up here underneath the course materials. You're gonna take the template that's the final template for the final assignment due in week 7, which is a PowerPoint presentation. And when you look at that template, it's got about 20 slides. Well, the slides tie to the topics we're talking about in class each week. So what you'll do is you'll open up your PowerPoint template, you'll modify it to be for Jamaica. You can add, we encourage you to add maps and pictures and color and make it look attractive. And what you'll do is you'll take the information you gathered in week 1 and 2 and 3, and you'll fill in the slides in that presentation that pertain to those weekly topics.
Oh, okay.
And so it isn't just cut and paste, but rather it's, you'll read the slide template shows you what goes on, what kind of information goes on the slide. It ties to what you worked on in week 1, 2, and 3, and you'll create those slides using the data you've already collected.
Okay.
You'll then add, at the very end, you have to remember to put your references at the very end on the last slide. You'll submit that at the end of week 3. And that's called a checkpoint. Checkpoint assignment is then my way of giving you feedback to say, okay, you've got the material right. Your bullets are too long. You didn't think about this, whatever. And so you'll get feedback from me at the end of week 3 showing you how well you did as far as taking the weekly material and putting it into the template. Okay?
Okay.
I will give you that feedback at the end of week 3, beginning of week 4. Then you're going to go 4, 5, and 6. You're going to keep doing your weekly assignments again. Okay? Week 6, you're going to take the template that you submitted in week 3. You'll make whatever improvements I've suggested or to you to the original submission, so you're allowed to change it. You'll add the material you collected in week 3, 4, and 5, or 4, 5, and 6. And again, you'll fill out more of the slides, and at that point, you'll have about 80% of the presentation done.
Wow.
You'll then upload that at the end of week 6. I'll give you additional feedback telling you what you might want to correct or modify. You'll make those corrections. In week 7, you'll have one more topic that you post like you always do. And then you'll take all of the material and you'll take the template. There'll be like 3 more slides that you have to finish. You'll research that, finish that, fine-tune the presentation in PowerPoint based on all the feedback I've given you throughout the class. And then you submit that in week 7, and that's the assignment that's due in week 7. The PowerPoint is designed for you, again, to simulate as if you as the middle manager were making a visual oral presentation to your CEO, briefing him on going to work in business in Jamaica. So the PowerPoint presentation is the template, is the thing that you're going to stand up in front of the audience and submit to your CEO. So that's why I say keep it crisp, use bullets, because if you use long, wordy sentences in a PowerPoint presentation, you tend to lose your audience. They start reading the presentation instead of listening to what you have to say.
Okay.
So that's the nature of what your assignment is. At the end of the day, the deliverable at the final end of the course, week 7, is that PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is about 25 slides that you're going to learn all the material over the next 6 to 7 weeks. You're going to get
Okay.
two opportunities, a checkpoint 1 in week 3 and a checkpoint 2 in week 6, 2 opportunities to submit it to me and get feedback to help you ensure you've got your project right for the final project. And then you get a grade on the final project in week 7.
Beautiful.
That's what you're doing. That's what all this work is that you're doing. So when you go into the learning module,
Hmm.
so okay, first of all, let's just look at this. That's probably a good thing. These are the 3 assignments we just talked about. There's your checkpoint 2, checkpoint 1, and 7.1 final project. So this is where you're actually going to submit those assignments for grade by me. And that was
Okay.
reached underneath, let's just go in here, where it says assignments right there.
Okay. Hmm.
That's these 3. Okay,
Okay.
so that's where they'll be. You'll upload your slides there. Then underneath learning module,
Hmm.
when it answers. Okay, I think it's, and now I'm trying to remember myself. Okay,
Okay.
let me find it. I gotta, because it's different in this than it was when we were in the other site. Let's see.
Hmm.
Go through.
Blackboard.
Yeah, Blackboard. What I'm trying to find is the course material. I bet it's under table of contents. Here we go. There's your syllabus.
Hmm.
Assignment guidelines and rubrics right here.
Hmm.
You open that up, we should get the weekly instructions for the assignments. Undergraduate discussion board, final project template, final project guide, and final project guidelines and rubric. So this tells you how I'm going to grade it.
Hmm.
This is the template. So and this is how we grade the discussion forum. So if you click on final project template, it's going to download for you a PowerPoint template that you can then modify for the purposes of doing the assignment. And depending on your internet, it'll depend on how long it's going to take to download. You can see mine's taking a while. But that's
Okay.
that's the template that you want to download. And what I encourage students to do is download that right away and save it on
Okay.
your computer. And then each week, like for example, you've already now done week 1 and you've probably already done week 2. You can go ahead and start working on those slides now by taking the
Okay.
data that you've already gathered based on the feedback I gave you at the end of the week. You can start filling in the slides. You can start searching the internet for maps and color. And what you're trying to do is make a professional PowerPoint presentation that would impress your CEO. And so
Excellent.
you can pull in pictures of the country, the people, and for one thing, is Jamaica likes color. So
Yes.
you would therefore want to make sure you pull color in. So I apologize for my connections. Not something's going on with the school that it's not downloading this template fast enough. I was going to show it to you and let you. Oh, I see. I'm still uploading. I'm using a Mac, which I hate. I'm getting rid of it, but it's still downloading PowerPoint. But we'll give it a minute to see if it comes back. But once you load this down, it has instructions. It shows you how to do it. This right here also gives you written instructions on how to do the project. So I would
Okay.
encourage you to download these 2 files, print the project guide,
Hmm.
and then the template. Again, it's a PowerPoint slides, and you can work on it every single week. That way, when we come to week 3, you're not going to be overwhelmed trying to get it all done so quickly.
Excellent. Good information.
So let me see. Mine's still downloading. Let's see.
Okay.
But I think I don't. If you download that, if there's a problem with it, just drop me an email and I'll take a look at it for you. But it's if you're are you familiar with using? Have you used PowerPoint before?
No, and that's what I was gonna say. I'm
Pardon me.
glad that I'm having the opportunity to learn PowerPoint because that is what was missing off of my resume.
Ah, okay. Well,
Uh,
it's a critical element in business. You can't in today's
yes,
business world you can't be successful without understanding PowerPoint. And
exactly.
and either my internet's slow or the university is slow because I'm still waiting for the PowerPoint slide to uh, to open, and it's not doing it. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm not sure even what that is. Let me minimize that out. And see if it's behind here. Maybe it's behind. Sometimes these in Apple it dumps stuff, in the background of your screen, but I don't see it. So I won't hold you up anymore, other than just to make sure you understand that this is where it is. So just to reconfirm,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the way I got to that is I was here uh, where your syllabus and so forth are, which is your table of contents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you click there, you'll get this screen. There's your syllabus. There's the
Yes.
guidelines for grading and rubrics, and that should allow you to then get to that template and be able to work your assignment. And again,
Yes.
I would not wait till week 3 to get started.
Okay.
I would start working on that as fast as you can. Only
Okay.
because if you want to make it really look nice, you want to have time to get some color, get some pictures, and so forth,
Right. And learn PowerPoint
and
because I'm
learn
still
PowerPoint.
learning it.
And I wish it would
Yes.
open up because I'd show you, I'd give you some hints on it. But basically, it works just like Word,
Okay.
except that it's formatted. And so
Okay.
you'll use bullets. You can change color. There is a reasonably good book that's not real expensive that you can get from almost any Barnes and Noble. It's called PowerPoint for Dummies,
Okay.
and I don't mean that derogatorily. I
Right.
own a
Right.
copy, but
I'm
it's
used to those dummy
yeah,
books. So
and
yes, I understand.
I think I want to say it's $10 or $12. It's probably,
Okay.
if you're not familiar with PowerPoint, it's probably a beneficial tool you might consider, and you can buy that online at Amazon as well.
Yes, and it'll be here in 2 days. I
Yeah,
think I will. That's a good investment.
yeah,
Let's see, PowerPoint for Dummies.
yeah. And if you
And it was real.
you can
No,
also
go ahead.
search on Amazon just for help books for PowerPoint, and then depending on your expertise and how comfortable you feel with these packages, you can decide what book to get. I mean, there are some very sophisticated books that give you the high end graphic presentation. The one that's for dummies is intended as basically a get started or a new person.
That's what I need.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that was kind of the concept that I wanted to offer. And I was
Okay.
most concerned about trying to explain the assignments because a lot of people get confused as to why we're
Mhm.
doing these weekly assignments and how it ties to the final uh, deliverable. So I like to cover that at a minimum. So is there anything else I can help you with as far as the class or the structure?
No, I think that I have everything that I need to go forward.
Okay.
And I did have an opportunity to look at your or listen to your lecture, and I
Okay.
did appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Because I do kind of feel like, online we're missing that a little, the
Hmm.
lecture part.
Sure.
And I was able to get some great information from that. So I do
Good.
thank you for that
All
as
right.
well.
I especially if students enjoy it, I may do it more later in the course because I stop them about halfway through because I
Okay.
found students stop listening to them after the first couple of weeks because they get into the groove and they don't have the time. Uh, and
Oh, okay.
and so that's why not every week has them. I think I have them through week 3, and then and then week 4 on. I don't think you have lectures. But
Okay.
again, if everyone's getting a lot out of them, I don't mind taking the time to record them.
Oh, okay. Well, we do appreciate that.
Okay? And we can reschedule one of these if students also feel that they're struggling or they want to get clarification. And I have recorded this, so it'll be loaded up into the classroom for anyone that wanted to listen to it. So any questions you ask may help them as well.
Excellent.
All right. Well, if you
Oh,
don't have anything else, I'll let you go. I'll upload this and have it there by tomorrow, and hopefully you'll have a great class for the balance of the next 7 weeks.
okay. And I do thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great evening.
You too. Good night.
Thanks. Good night. All right. So